Hi, George here with Home Brewing Company. Today I'm going to talk about making a yeast starter. I'm going to try to make this nice and simple. So what is a yeast starter? A yeast starter is basically a miniature beer. The reason we do this is that we're trying to grow the amount of yeast that we have, so increase our cell count. We're also trying to restore the food reserves in our yeast cells so that they can be more ready and active to go for our large batch. And we're also trying to incorporate some oxygen into the process so that the yeast can use that to create strong cell walls. The end result is that by making happy yeast, we're going to make much better beer. So if you're a beginning or intermediate brewer and you're looking for that next thing to really make your beer a lot better, I really think that looking into yeast health, making yeast starters, aeration, that sort of thing, pays off way more than buying like a new mash tun or an expensive kettle or anything else like that. So if you're looking for the best way to spend your money and your time, I really think that yeast starters are one of the best ways to go. So how do you make a yeast starter? It's really simple. We're going to use a ratio of 100 grams of dry malt extract for every liter of water. I do recommend making at least a 2-liter starter. So for this example, I'll just say let's make a 3-liter starter. Let's use about 300 grams, or precisely 300 grams of dry malt extract and 3 liters of water. Throw that on the stove, boil it for 15 minutes. Throw a pinch of yeast nutrients in there. You're not going to need a lot, but that'll help the yeast. Cool it down, just like you normally would for a brew, and then add your yeast when it's at about room temperature. Throw that onto a stir plate, or if you don't want to buy a stir plate right away, you're just kind of getting started, you want to save some money, then just leave it in a part of your house, like maybe a hallway that you walk past pretty often. And then each time you walk past, you can just give it a swirl, give it a shake, that'll work. Also, I should mention that you do want to leave your starter covered with either just a piece of foil, that's easy, or a foam stopper. You can use a bung and airlock if you wish, but it's actually recommended that you use foil or a foam stopper so that the air can actually get in there and allow the yeast to get access to the oxygen. In terms of timing, 18 to 48 hours prior to your brew day, or even if you just do it the day of, you're still going to get some of those benefits. If you're going for cell growth, which is typically what you're doing, then it's, I would say, at least 24 to 48 hours. One of the benefits of doing it like 48 hours prior is that you'll notice the yeast is going to consume through your starter pretty quickly, and that would then leave you, say, about 8 hours or 4 hours to put your yeast starter into the fridge so that as it gets colder, the yeast will settle down. Then you can sort of decant or pour off the beer that's resting on the top and just add the yeast slurry. If you don't have the time and you just want to get the starter and you have to throw the whole yeast starter into your batch, that's really not a problem. You're talking a small percentage of yeast starter to the full volume of the batch. So it's not going to have a huge impact on the flavor of your beer, and the quality will definitely be worth it. Other things to consider are using proper starter. This is just basically a yeast starter that's already made. It's sterile, it's in the can for you. This is concentrated wort. So this is a 16-ounce can. So if you were making a 1-liter starter, you would use this can plus 16 more ounces. I would use either pre-boiled or just go to the store, buy some bottled water so that you can add that in there. And if you're making a 2 or 3-liter starter, you'll need 2 or 3 of these respectively. If you're doing a lager, another big question that comes out is, should I make my yeast starter for a lager at lager temperature? So for my fermentation for a lager, I'm going to ferment at like 50 to 55 Fahrenheit. For your starters, go ahead and just do those at ambient room temperature. The goal of the starter is just to grow cells quickly, and that'll happen more quickly at about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So don't worry about that too much. That is the gist on yeast starters. They're actually pretty easy. The tools sometimes make it seem like it's this very advanced technique, but it's pretty straightforward. As long as everything's sanitary and you're using gloves, if you have them, using your sanitizers and properly taking care of your yeast, it's really going to work out pretty well for you. And I can't recommend it enough. Making a yeast starter will greatly improve the quality of your beer. So if you have questions, hit us up at brew@homebrewingco.com. You can leave comments on this video, like, subscribe, do all that cool stuff, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.